Hi, this is Asim.
This is Sujoy.
This is Amrita.
And you're listening to Khandaan, a Bollywood podcast about the three main Khans of the Hindi film industry.
Aamir,
Salman,
and Shara.
Hi, you're listening to Khandaan, a Bollywood podcast regular feed. Thank you so much for your support over the years. We now have a Patreon channel with bonus content and exclusive merch for those of you who would like to support us. Every dollar goes towards creating more and better content. Visit us at patreon.com/Khandaan podcast.
a big thank you to all our supporters at Patreon. Usma, Jasmine, Nandini, Sirjana, Sunita, Pamela, Ruhi, Rihani, Farzana, Isa, Chitra, SK, Nika, Puitams, Laina, Pranjal, Supriya, Javeria, Devansh, Karen, Mofi, Deepta, G, Deepti, Rebecca, Drama Panda, Shah, Manish, Chitra, Irfan, Suha, Lady Saibal, Navsharan, Jackie, Shakila, Abdullah, and our mystery benefactor who prefers not to be named.
let's welcome the people into this insanity. Welcome to Khandaan Podcast. Amrita couldn't join us this week, but we brought in Pitu, and clearly, she came prepared.
Maybe Amrita didn't join us because I was coming. That is just occurring to me.
I didn't want to make, assumptions, but I think that and the movie you have chosen for us might be the two reasons why she didn't come, right?
She saw the poster of the movie that we are talking about this episode, and she's like, nope, I'm going to check out.
It's hashtag self-care. We can't blame Amrita.
Yeah, for sure.
So our main review is going to be Mann, the classic with Aamir Khan and Manisha Koirala. I think 1999 it came out, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I took so many notes, and then there was a point I was like, why am I doing this? My notes are longer than the script of this movie. Like, why? What is the point? Anyway, we will get to that. But we have a bunch of other stuff we want to talk about. But I did want to give a shout out, first of all, that last week's episode was a new format we've done. We did an essay on 1992, the year that changed Bollywood. Amrita wrote, designed, it was her brainchild, and I thought it was amazing work. You, Pitu, and Sujoy, you both contributed to it. I thought it was amazing. It got a lot of new listeners and a lot of new people that kind of joined in, and a lot of good feedback. And that was only possible because we launched a Patreon last year. And if you want to see more of that experimentation, you want to see more kind of new formats, join up with Patreon. It's
Patreon.com/Khandaan podcast.
That's the one. Thank you for always correcting me and memorizing these things, Sujoy. So do join up. You can join up from $1, and there's tons of stuff happening. I also dropped I do a monthly recommendation of 5 things I'm watching that is not Bollywood, which is fun. And then Sujoy, you're also working on a new mixtape, which will be dropping soon too. So lots of new content coming, and we always, have a nice little community going. So join us at Patreon. But let's get back to the main show. See, Pitu, this is how you plug things. So Pitu is about to start a podcast, so she's also in training. So she's kind of an intern at the moment. She's interning at Khandaan Podcast, right? You're going to steal all of our ideas and then start your own thing.
And I'm going to
like
WhatsApp
a proper entrepreneur
and be like, Acha, listen, what do you think?
I'm looking forward to it. Whatever Pitu you do, I will be number 1 subscriber.
Thank you. You can also write all my Google reviews and all under different guises.
Yeah, definitely.
I will be number 2 reviewer after us.
That sounds very bad.
बाद में तुम देख लो number 3 मिलेगा या ना मिलेगा वो तुम्हारी responsibility है.
The Karan Arjuns are here.
Yes. Amrita can be Durjan.
I thought you would say Rakhi, but
no, I am Rakhi, na. I am Rakhi. Y'all are my Karan Arjuns.
Okay, let's get started with the show. Let's talk about a few of the trailers and the stuff that we've been watching. Should we do the JUGJUGG trailer first? Let's start with that.
Yeah, sure.
तुम दोनों बिना शर्माए एक साथ बताओगे कि तुम्हें एक दूसरे से क्या चाहिए. 1, 2, divorce.
विनी की शादी के लिए घर जा ही रहे हैं. उसकी शादी हो जाने तक इस डिवोर्स के डिसीजन के बारे में किसी को नहीं बताएंगे.
So this is it? It's not directed by Karan Johar, right? It's produced by Dharna, if I'm not mistaken.
Produced.
Yeah.
Right. So it stars Varun Dhawan, Kiara Advani, Anil Kapoor, and Neetu Singh coming back after ages, right? Like also after passing of Rishi Kapoor. She can act in movies again now. So, because clearly she was held hostage by that marriage. But yeah, it seems Bollywood is back. Pitu, what did you think of the trailer?
It was okay. I had mixed feelings. I mean, I like watching Anil Kapoor in anything. And I do kind of sort of like Varun Dhawan. So it kind of looked like it was frothy and fun. But I am so over Punjabi-ness of everything and the loudness and the garishness. So I don't know. I guess I'll wait and see what people say about it. And if they're like, oh, it's really good, then I'll watch it. But I can tell it's good. There's going to be so much melodrama and Neetu Singh being like, Abla mother and all that. So I don't know. It was kind of lame.
I saw this tweet from somebody who says this movie is only a comedy because the men want a divorce. If women wanted a divorce, it would be like a tragedy, Like that's just like ha ha ha, men are women, they treat us so bad. Also, Sujoy, I remember you talking about this, but that's Tiska Chopra, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Didn't
the mother
she,
from Tare Zameen Par.
Yeah, but didn't she also do like an interview that she worked with Anil Kapoor on another movie and it was a terrible experience? I remember that. Like she didn't. I don't know. It was Rajesh.
It was Rakesh Roshan. Rakesh Roshan, Ritik's dad. Yeah. I mean, she didn't mention him, but you could sort of put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. You had to Sherlock Holmes it a little bit, right? Yeah. So, what did you think of the trailer?
I mean, it's just a throwback to the good old Dharma brand of Bollywood, your kind of a trailer. So nothing new, nothing fancy about it. It still looks like a very polished product. Varun's hair reminded me of Saif's hair in Hum Tum. The Punjabi dance sequence is back in fashion. It's back in town. And it's nice to see Neetu Singh on screen. I don't think I'll be making my trip to the cinema to watch this at the Friday first show screening. But like I'm okay with just spending a Sunday afternoon streaming it on Prime or whatever. That's the kind of vibe that I'm getting.
Wow, I'm surprised you guys are so subdued about. I'm like really excited for this. Like,
really? Why are you excited about this?
I like Varun is in there and Anil is in there and Karan Johar produced it. This is enough. Like, if you give me these 3 elements, I'm on board. That's Bollywood for me. Like you, I'm a huge Anil Kapoor fan. I'll literally watch him in anything, and I've watched him in so many terrible things already. But this actually looks like a good product, and I mean. I don't want to be like a hater, but I never connected with Neetu Singh. I've not missed her or anything like that, and I wish like Juhi Chawla was in there instead. When that or Madhuri, like I'd like that. Like imagine Anil Kapoor wanting to divorce Madhuri. Wouldn't that be
then to usko joote padte.
Yeah, but that would make it like the insanity, right? Like this couple that we have grown up with, that we always have seen together as the best pairing, one of the best pairings, and now they want to divorce. I think that would be an interesting story in a way.
That's actually a good idea. And they were together in that Total Dhamal also.
I have not seen that, but we will be talking about it. Yeah, we'll probably get to that when we're talking about Mann a little bit, although we have lots of notes for Mann. But yeah, I'm excited about this. I do. Pakistan is up in arms, by the way, people. Have you?
Oh yeah, the song.
Yeah, so they've apparently lifted Nach Punjaban from Abrarul Haq, and he is not happy. And Pakistanis are not happy.
They finally gave him credit, apparently.
Did they? Recently?
Yeah, like apparently now in that song it says like written and perform something by blah blah and Abrarul Haq. So finally they gave him credit for it.
Chalo, like lawsuit bach gaya. But I also don't know how a lawsuit from Pakistan to India would actually work. Like, do you drag Karan Johar in front of NATO? Like, how does who imposes those copyrights? Like, how would it work? Yeah.
Karan Johar's like, अब किसके बारे में confess करना है मुझे?
Anu Malik would be shaking in his boots. He would be like, "क्या अब lawsuits होने लगे हैं?"
ये पूरा career
His
गया.
whole career is that. Yeah, exactly.
We'll talk more about that when we talk about Mann.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I don't think this is going to be a big hit or anything like that. But I think I think it's going to be a good movie. I'm not sold on Kiara Advani still. Like, is anybody out here like a Kiara Advani fanboy?
I kind of have a soft spot for her because she's cute, but she's very vanilla and she really can't act. And she's the same in every single movie I've seen her in. So, I mean, she's cute, but that's hardly a very, huge vote of confidence for someone.
I've heard good things about her in Sher Shah, which I haven't seen yet. So, my judgment is completely based on her playing this Ghagra Choli kind of a girl in every single movie with Punjabi songs and Mika playing in the background and Basha rapping.
I just feel she's gotten a real boost. Like, whoever her agent is or whatever she's doing in terms of networking is really going well, because you see her a lot. And like you said, Pitu, for me, she has like a non-presence. I would not even be able to. And she's been acting in quite a few movies. I couldn't pick out one role where she was great in,
But I feel like it's just she's getting those roles because there's no one else. Like, if you wanted to cast someone in that kind of like a flower pot role, who are you going to cast? There just aren't that many options. I mean, you can cast Janvi Kapoor, but she's so terrible.
No.
कि उसके सामने Kiara is like a thespian.
No.
Asim is not taking this.
I'm not taking it. Janvi is so much better. I would like to actually see her in this kind of role. Like,
okay, I am done. I am stopping this recording. I am walking out.
Or Sara Ali Khan even. Like,
she's so irritating.
No, but she could play that pitch. Like, there's a pitch for these kind of comedies, right? And Sara could, match it. And everybody is terrible in these kind of movies. They're too loud, Like, I don't see Varun Dhawan is doing like this sad divorcee boy. That doesn't seem like, I'm not buying that either, Like, he just wants to do some chichorapan within 5 minutes. You know that. So, but Anil Kapoor.
His face is only chichora.
Yeah, exactly. I love him so much. He's the
best.
Exactly.
He's the best. So, a lot of new stuff dropped on streaming on Netflix, right? And we watched a few things. What did we watch? You guys watched Gangubai, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a bit. No, Sujoy, you had already seen Gangubai and you rewatched it for us. Right?
Yes, I did.
How was it upon a rewatch?
I think, I said it in the previous episode as well. So I watched it at 1.25x speed this time.
Oh, God.
And it was a better experience than I remember. But I did slow down in the key scenes and to, because I didn't want to make it funny and stuff. But I get that many people have fallen in love with this movie and they all are appreciating Alia Bhatt's role, her acting prowess in this as the titular role of Gangubai Kathiawadi. But I still have that problem of that I can't detach myself of the artificiality that is portrayed on screen by Bhansali. His dramatics are still very much like a throwback to an era gone by of Bollywood cinema. So he's still trying to emulate the on-screen magic of K. Asif or Kamal Amrohi, and that is sort of deliberately that's what he's trying with the sets that look like pristine and clean and the sky that is replaced or the scenes that are carefully choreographed, like when the scenes are framed, you see this wide shot of all the girls trying to put makeup on each other, and it looks like a painting, and I don't know, it sort of takes me out of the actual horror of what's happening on screen, and it's the story of her struggle through the ages and all her fight against the odds, it sort of takes me out of the experience. I don't know. I still don't really connect with the drama of Gangubai, even though I do agree that Alia has done really a good job and Vijay Raj is really great. And yeah, I still don't really get the hype around it, and I think like it's done really well internationally, especially in Thailand. That's what I've heard. Like
Korea as well, actually.
After it dropped on Netflix, and people watched what's trending, and that's made it more of an international success now on streaming, and that's good, I guess. But I still don't. I'm not team Gangubai yet.
Pitu, like, I don't know where you stand on like Sanjay
I am
Leela's
definitely
movies.
team Gangubai, and I absolutely despise Sanjay Leela Bhansali.
Yeah, that's what I
this
thought.
is a huge change for me.
Okay, I think we're gonna be along the same lines, like, because like you and me, I don't think Sanjay Leela is the kind of filmmaker we really like, or maybe his
He's
early stuff.
terrible.
Yeah. Terrible.
Like
Okay.
Ramleela is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It was so frustrating. I had to like throw my remote away in a huff, and I was like, I cannot finish this crap. I mean, I think he's horrible. Probably one of the worst filmmakers. Padmavat, oh my god, I wanted to like kill someone. Ideally him.
Which one?
Padmavat.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, everyone, all the Ranis are going to kill themselves, including Deepika. Isko bhi maar do. So he doesn't make this nonsense again. So I pretty much always hate everything he does. So for me to like Gangubai is like a huge thing, because I never like anything he does. And I mean, I give all credit to Alia for that, because I just think she acted incredibly well. And everyone in that movie acted so well. I mean, Seema Pawa was such a revelation. And I actually didn't know that Vijay Raj is in this movie.
Yeah.
So, because I tend not to watch too many promos, because I feel like the way they cut these Bollywood trailers and promos, they give everything away. So if I really want to watch a movie, I don't actually watch too many trailers and promos. So I didn't know Vijay Raj was in it. And I legit squealed when I saw him on screen, and I was like, it's Vijay Raj. My cat was sleeping next to me and I scared her. But then I was also disappointed that Vijay Raj had such a small role. It was like almost blink and miss it. And there was this whole like drama where he's like, telling Alia Bhatt ki ab jung chidi hai and all this. And I'm like, yeah, there's going to be like a smackdown between these two. It's going to be like Godzilla versus Kong. And then nothing, puss. He just went away. And I was like, okay, come back. Where are you? But overall, I absolutely loved it. And I really like the songs. And I'm kind of impressed with Alia, because honestly, I've never been an Alia fan. This is probably one of the few movies where I've liked her, apart from Urta Punjab, of course.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on. I don't think I've really loved a movie. Like, I didn't like. He lost me at Devdas and never really been able to get me back as an audience member, Sanjay Leela,
Yeah.
And I do not like a lot of his movies, and I don't even understand when people praise them so much. Like, what they're like, I emotionally can never connect with his
Same,
movies. It just never happens.
It's just
very
all
pretty.
style, no substance.
Yeah, and very pretty. It's amazing to look at. Like those, Padmavat and Bajirao, like those song sequences, they're beautiful, but they never really connect with me. And also maybe the actors he's chosen aren't really anything like, that really grab me. Plus, like a lot of Islamophobia in the last few movies, which I didn't really appreciate either. This really worked for me, and initially it didn't. Like, I was not on board at the first half of this movie, because I felt it was really following like a biopic kind of sensibility.
Yeah.
But the second part of it really becomes more of, dialogue bazi. Like, it becomes almost more Bollywood, like action-y sequences, which I thought were really, really good. And what I really also appreciated were these short sequences that he's probably imagined and then he put into the movie that elevate it. Like, I'll give you an example. Like when the women are writing a letter to their dad, and then every woman is kind of adding a line. I thought that was a beautiful sequence. I feel they didn't go as far with it as I wanted to, like get every woman involved and get a bit more poetic, but I thought that was a really good sequence. The Bharat coming, and then that Alia is putting a white veil over her head, and just that shot of her being like also a dulhan but like in a white veil, I thought that was very touching. The funeral sequence with her friend that has passed away, that was very touching. So these moments really do stand out, and the dialogue bazi with Vijay Raza is amazing.
So good.
But I think the problem with Sanjay Leela Bhansali, at least for me, is that he's so enamored with the pretty that he avoids the ugly, and this movie needs the ugly to a certain degree, right? And I mean, Sujoy, you and me, we've watched this version of the movie in art movies at least 7 times at the lift. We've watched Parched, and we watched all of these other movies that
Fold.
Exactly the exact same storyline.
See, but my argument would be different. The thing is that when they make movies on such a topic, like Miss Lovely, I still haven't seen it. When they make it too ugly, which is actually the reality, and they make it too realistic, a lot of people shy away from those movies. I shy away from those movies because I just, I don't want to be like crying all night and getting depressed. Like I have to go to work the next morning. So I think that to some extent you have to water it down at least enough to make it palatable, because otherwise तो हम बैठ के documentary भी देख सकते हैं, और मुझे documentary भी नहीं देखनी है, because I can't really do anything about it, and I just don't want to get like all upset. So I think this is in a way a palatable way to watch. वरना तो आप जाके Miss Lovely भी देख सकते हो, मुझे देखनी भी नहीं है. So,
and I think this is where the divide is between Urta Punjab and Gangubai, for example, where Urta Punjab just goes over the line of the ugly, where you don't want to rewatch it that much anymore.
Oh, yeah.
But this is palatable, and this can travel internationally, and I think it's made with a lot of intent that way, And I get it, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate this movie more than I have any other. But I think that's also where some of the soul for the movie is missing, because, you're avoiding some topics where it needs to be addressed. Like initially, Gangubai, you see that she's, being mistreated and she's sold. But then as soon as she becomes in a position of power, no bad things almost happen to her, except I think once she gets beaten up. I don't know if she's not actually in a position of power still, right? It's after that.
Yeah.
So it all becomes like she's basically Amitabh in Agnipath after that, like that. Like she was talking about in a few interviews how she watched a lot of footage and like old documentaries about how women in that area have grown up. But I was like, man, she just watched Amitabh and she's doing like really delivering that kind of lines, which I appreciate.
The scene where she says like किसी से नहीं डरने का ना पुलिस से ना whatever. I was watching that with my husband, and the first thing he said was she's completely copying Nana Patekar, and I was like, oh my god, that's so true. I mean, literally her expression, her tone, everything. It was just like Nana Patekar copy paste.
Yeah, for me it was Amitabh in Agnipath, especially the white, like that's what it made me. Kisi se nahi darne
body
ka,
language,
the hand behind the back, that kind of thing. But it works. I think it really does work. I'm happy, and I actually have recommended this movie to a few people, even to my wife, which doesn't happen a lot. Like, I think what you're saying, that it makes it palatable, it makes it translate to that it's working in Korea, that it's working in other countries. I think it's a very smart move. And I don't know about like the Netflix algorithm, but this movie is like always front and center whenever I log into Netflix, which I think is a good way to promote a movie. So I think it's it worked. I'm happy with this one. I'm quite happy, I have to say. Anything else on Gangubai you wanted to talk about?
Oh, I love that scene where she's with Ashfaq, and like the first time that they really meet, he brings those saris for her, and they're all white. And then she says, she's talking about the different kinds of white. Like she's like Chand ka, safed, and this ka safed, and Badal ka safed. And then he kind of completes her sentences, and he's like something ka safed, and then there's that spark between them. I thought that was lovely. I mean, it was as meet cutes go, it was quite unique.
Yeah. Also, I like the actor.
Yeah, he was very endearing.
Yeah, he's a well-known dancer from he's done lots of hip hop dance competitions and stuff.
Oh wow, okay. I just liked his hair. For somebody who doesn't have any hair, I was like, yeah, thodi si jalan. Thodi si jalan.
But like, I wanted to go back to what Asim said. Like, Bhansali gets lost in the pretty. He's kind of like the Zack Snyder of Bollywood, right? He is so much concentrated on the aesthetics and the scenes and the moments rather than the entire story sort of evoking an emotion. There is no arc, or I don't know. It just feels disjointed from one portion to other. There's like actually broken chapters of the story, and that's I don't know if that's the most efficient and effective way to tell a biopic story, so that you sort of empathize and sympathize with the character or not.
Yeah, but it does elevate it because it isn't really a biopic after a while anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like especially like that final sequence where it's just a parade for her
Oh,
for
I
like
hated
5
that.
minutes.
It was so weird.
Yeah, but I think it just detaches from reality at that
Yeah.
moment. Like, there's no way that she's going and she's seeing all of her old enemies in that
Yeah.
same street, you know? Like, that's just not happening. But I think it's kind of conveying, like, you know, she's not a real person anymore. She becomes a symbol.
Right.
So I think it makes sense, and it is pretty, and he does get lost in it. But I think that's where it's, you know, it's like, oh, remember this was a biopic. Right. That kind of thing, you know?
So,
And,
like, I have to go back to one sequence that I really hated in this movie, and that was when Gangubai is to pitch to Ajay Devgan, who plays Rahim Lala in this movie, to get her the contract for the alcohol license, right? So it's like a Shark Tank pitch where she's like approaching with, you know, I have to beat, you know, Vijay Raja's character at the elections to become the whatever of this locality, and like Rahim Lala sort of says, इस अफगान ने और या फिर इस पठान ने मुल्क छोड़ा है वतन ने उसूल नहीं something like of that sort. And then she flips back and she borrows a simple dialogue, and then Ajay has a quick change of heart.
Yeah.
And, like, gives the daru ka license to her.
I mean,
So,
his
like,
character was definitely very caricaturish.
Yeah.
I typically like Ajay Devgan's acting, but I mean, he was just like, his character was just so caricaturish.
The whole relationship was very rushed. Like,
Yeah.
she meet him once and she's immediately her sister. Like, I didn't even understand where that, like, she was like fully, like, a lot of her success and navigating this world was due
Yeah.
having the muscle of Ajay Devgan behind him that literally is doing everything for her. And she met him at the start, then for the Eid, and then for the license. We basically just see three things, you know? So I don't know. I don't know what the relationship was necessarily based on. I think that's what, for me, the problem was. But overall, it worked for me. It
Yeah.
worked overall for me, yeah. I mean, yeah, I think also for me, I'm coming in with so low expectations. I'm not going to like it. Like, even if with all of those problems we're mentioning, I still came out positive, you know? Like, that's where I'm standing on it. But yeah, if people love it a lot more and we missed out, I'm sure we can have like a whole discussion. Like, Gangubai, drop us an email at youpodcasting@gmail.com. The other big release dropped on Netflix in Hindi, and then in Telugu and a few other, I think...
Tamil,
Tamil.
Kannada, and Malayalam on
all of
Z5.
them,
Yeah.
on Z5. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Okay, so that's how the breakdown went, and we all rewatched it because I don't think we've actually had a group discussion about RRR. We just had it immediately after I watched it. So I'm actually really curious to hear your thoughts. Pitu, what did you think of RRR?
It was really meh, I thought. It was so, I was like, ye kya bakwas hai? The only things I'll tell you what I loved. I loved the CGI animals. There were times when I actually rewound like the tiger shots, and I was like putting them on my Instagram stories because I was like, look, this tiger, this cheetah. I mean, I loved the CGI. I also really
Wow,
liked...
kya tiger hai?
I know, I was like, kya tiger hai? Amazing tiger. And then there were some of these dances that I loved. That Neetu song, that was really good. I loved the choreography and the way they danced. I thought that lead actor was so charismatic. The one who plays Ram, he was really good. But other
His Ram.
than that, it was just kind of like, okay. I just didn't like it. I was like, okay, can I just finish this movie? I basically just watched it for the podcast, and there were times when I was just like watching it at double speed because I was like, "Ye bakwas kab khatam hogi?"
Crazy. What did you think of Bahubali then?
I have not seen Bahubali because you can't pay me to see Bahubali.
Wow,
I would watch
okay.
Bahubali if I had to, talk about it on the podcast. But these movies just don't do anything for me at all.
Is it that it's South Indian movies?
No, I
like
love
Telugu
South Indian
or is
movies,
it,
but it's just,
what is it?
they're so cartoonish, and like I just found RRR to be so cartoonish, and like, those like really stupid, unimaginative superhero movies, like that
Yeah.
scene where they're trying to rescue that little fisher boy or whoever he was, and then you have these slow-mo shots. I was like, "Ye kya bakwas hai?" So yeah, it was just bakwas basically, but I did love the CGI tiger. And I love the songs. That's
No,
it.
Pitu, you have to do what you wrote on Instagram about it in the accent.
Oh yes. So when they were dancing, I mean, their dancing was so like hyperactive. I was like, "Ye kya steroids leke dance kar rahe?" So I don't know if you watched this TV show in India. It's called Khichdi, and I love Hansa Ben in it. And she always says, like, she's like, "Are babuji, main to thak gayi." So that was my reaction every time a dance would happen. I would watch it, and then I would be like, "Eh babuji, main to thak gayi." So yeah, RRR dekh ke main thak gayi.
That's okay. Hansa is played by Supriya Pathak.
Yes, she is amazing. I need a Hansa Ben movie. Actually.
There is a Khichdi movie though.
So Joy, man, RRR, what do you think? We can finally get into spoilers. We haven't really been able to talk about it.
I mean, I watched it in Silchar at the cinema. I watched it in Kolkata at the cinema. After it dropped on Netflix and Z5, I watched it twice. So I guess that tells you all that I really love this movie. Like, I don't think I can articulate how I feel about this movie. Like, there's I must tell you that I'm not a big Charan fan because I've only seen him in Magadhira, and I think that's it before RRR. I haven't seen any of the NTR Junior movies.
You didn't watch the Zanjeer remake?
No, I did not. I have only watched Magadhira, Iga, Bahubali, and this movie of SS Rajamouli. So I don't have that added, fandom associated with me to see how much the hype of them three coming together as in this movie is. But I'm totally swept by just the energy, the charm, and how much bonkers it is, and how much far it can push. Like with every sequence, it's like, as Pitu said, what's negative for her, it works for me. Like how silly it is, but it's like a bonkers Amar Chitra Katha come to life. That whole sequence of rescuing the kid is just mind-blowing. How imaginative it is. Like, obviously there are no physics laws involved in all the action sequences here. Like, their knee calves would be completely blown away to pieces by the time they do any of these sequences. But yeah, the emotions involved, obviously it's always a win when the British get their ass kicked.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that. I will say that was very enjoyable, and that was great.
Yeah, and the villains are super evil. So
that lady, did she remind anyone of Catherine Zeta-Jones?
She reminded me of Lalita Pawar.
Really? Oh, she was like, I was like, ye kya aurat hai? She was like pretty good, I thought. Very menacing.
And the guy who plays the army guy, like her husband, he played the Punisher in one of the movies. One of the Punisher movies,
Warzone.
Yeah, the Warzone movie, that's the one.
So I'll tell you, like, I've been watching a lot of movies lately. I've been going to the cinema again. I've been really back on it. So last week I saw Doctor Strange. I saw Everything Everyone All at Once. Have you guys heard of this movie?
I've watched that as well.
Yeah,
the Chelio movie, right?
And then I ended up watching RRR, and I think it kind of, like, watching Doctor Strange prepared me for RRR again, because, like Pitu said, it is one of those Marvel superhero movies that translated to India, right? And with Indian mythology and history and stuff like that. And that really works for me. Like, you probably just don't like also Marvel movies.
Right, exactly.
People, right? Yeah. So I think if you like that kind of grand scale, then RRR is your thing. And I actually watched it with my wife, and she was like, I'll watch like 30 minutes of it because it was quite late when we put it on. She ended up watching the whole thing, and she was like talking about it for the next 2 days still, how cool it was. I even brought in my daughter to watch Nacho or Natu Natu because like the whole setup is
That
so
was
good.
so fun.
And being in London, I just wanted to see English people, be treated like crap, which I think is good for her balance, I mean, I think last time I spoke about this movie 20 minutes and I didn't want to spoil it. I still love it as much as I did. I have to also add, the Hindi dub is really good, which I did not. It surprised and it blew me away because, I mean, we've grown up with, Strawberry Aankhein and that kind of translation from back in the 90s where they put no effort into anything, right? And seeing like actual actors doing their own voices like Ramcharan and Alia, that they're actually having a lyricist translate the lyrics of the songs. These are the things that elevate a movie, than, just like having a dubbed voice that doesn't match anybody. So I really appreciated that they go through the effort, and it's all of those little things that make this movie so much better, and they put so much heart in it, right? And that's why it's just having so much, like, Pitu, even if you don't like this movie, I imagine you can understand why it's such a massive success, and it's crossing over.
Yeah,
we're talking about Gangubai crossing over to Thailand and these other countries. This is like American theater are sold out and they're watching it non-ironically.
I mean,
not
can
like the way
totally get it because like people who see, I think again it boils down to, do you like those Marvel kind of movies? I think those are absolute crap and you couldn't pay me to see them. So if you like that, then I think this is wonderful because then you have a Desi audience that can watch that kind of movie, but it's set in India and it's stiff stuff that we can relate to more. So that's wonderful. Then though that would be like Sone Pe Suhaga. But if you just don't like that genre and you're like, ye kya rubbish hai, then it's just more of the same crap with maybe better music and good dances and amazing tigers. But that's it then. I think it just boils down to, do you even like the genre or not? If you don't like it,
but
then you just not like it.
One of my theory has always been that why do Bollywood movies or Indian movies not translate to Western audiences is because they do not deal well with men being in love, either dancing or
for
expressing.
sure.
And this movie has no love songs. This movie has no love songs where the man is in love. So guys, like American guys, can watch this movie and feel totally comfortable with it. The only dance off is like dance off between dudes.
Right.
So that's fine for them.
It's
so
a bromance.
Nothing makes it. It is a bromance.
It is like a competition sport. That whole song, right?
Yeah. And there's no love song in it. This movie has it's insane when you think about it, which actually a thing that defines Indian cinema is love songs. Right. And this doesn't have it, and it's one of the biggest successes. So I get it. I get why it's a big success, and I cheer the success of it. I'm really happy because sometimes like a movie will get like famous or get like traction, and I'm like, it's not my thing. Like Lunchbox was never my thing, and I was like, glad that white people like it too, but it's not what makes my heart rush. But for this, it does. Like, I'm really happy that this is finding success. I'm happy that people will watch it on Netflix, and it's a good print. Suja, you were saying there's something problem with cropping or like aspect ratios. I don't notice that because I'm terrible with noticing those things. But
so I did not watch it at the IMAX. So the normal release at the cinema is in the 21:9 widescreen CinemaScope sort of ratio, and then Netflix and Z5, wherever I saw the OTT release, it's in the 16:9 where you have your full TV screen being filled up. So I thought they had cropped, but they had actually released the more taller ratio, which is shown in IMAX screen. So you get more of the actual movie. So if you compare it to whatever the YouTube videos that had been released before of Nacho Nacho or whatever, you can see that the YouTube release has like cropped the top and the bottom, which is it's more of the image being seen on the OTT release.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you notice any of that?
No. I'm like, are you even asking me this question?
That's why we bring specialists in like Sujoy.
These things really bug me when they do, like, especially with Shemaru releases when like on YouTube and stuff, like of old movies, if if they had a 4:3, more of a square ratio, and they stretch it for a 16:9 release, then they will zoom in and crop on the sides. It really pisses me off.
The list of things that piss Sujoy off is so funny. I remember back in the blogging days, like I'm talking like 12 years ago when Sujoy and I became friends, and he had that blog. And he once wrote this entire rant about how Bollywood actors who are portraying, like, playing a musical instrument on screen, like a guitar or a piano or whatever, he wrote this enormous rant about how they're doing it inaccurately and how much it pisses him off. And I was like trying to joke with him. I was like, बॉस वो एक्चुअल पियानिस्ट या गिटारिस्ट थोड़ी ना है, मतलब थोड़ा तो faking करना पड़ेगा. He was like, no, that's not acceptable. I was like, okay, boss, cool it. So I'm very familiar with Sujoy's rants.
No, I had made a genuine list of the 10 guitar villains of Bollywood, and number 1 was Rajesh Khanna in Disco Dancer.
Rajesh Khanna was in Disco Dancer?
Yeah, the Goro Ki Na Kalo Ki song, right? He was the original mentor.
You had
of
even
Pitu,
mentioned Rishi Kapoor multiple times in that list, I remember. I'm quite scarred by your list because that is the day I discovered कि सुजय को गुस्सा भी आता है, और जब गुस्सा आता है काफी गुस्सा आता है.
और ऐसे trivial चीजों पे गुस्सा आता है. Yeah,
good.
Thank God the blog is dead.
Let's move on to Mann.
Yes.
But before we do Mann, let's talk a little bit about two things. I want to quickly talk about it. Can and Karan Johar's 50-year-old birthday party. But let's keep that for Patreon. Like, I think this could be a kind of a good segment to get people, if you want to hear our thoughts about these two things, sign up to Patreon. We'll make it an exclusive.
We will talk about Pesan.
What?
Pesan.
Pesan. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about Pesan on Patreon. Okay, let's do that. Yeah. Great. Let's get back to Mann.
Yes.
कितनी मासूमियत, कितनी सादगी. ऐसा लगता है जैसे आसमान से कोई परी उतर आई.
विश्वास जीतना आसान है, उसे तोड़ना उससे भी आसान है, मगर मुश्किल है उस विश्वास को निभाना.
काश तुम कभी तो मेरा विश्वास करती प्रिया.
मेरा मन क्यों तुम्हें चाहे, मेरा मन.
Yeah, this. So.
Let me bring my notes.
This was my suggestion, by the way, dear listener. This was my suggestion. Asif was like, "कौन सा picture करने का?" I was like, "Mann."
Yeah, and you were at the Mann.
I was at the Mann. मेरा मन इस movie पे आ गया था.
Yeah, exactly.
Why are you all even friends with me anymore? I don't get it. It's like a hostage situation.
It's like a 50-50 situation. We don't like you because you pick these movies, but we love you because you pick these movies.
True. It's a love-hate relationship. It's like Karan Johar's feelings about Sujoy.
Wow.
So we have a concept of this show, right? We're talking about, the Khan movies, but there are certain Khan's movies that nobody will talk about except Pitu. And Pitu will be so excited about these movies that we're like, oh, let's give it a shot again. And then it's like, oh, these were all terrible decisions. Like, so I think we want to refresh a little bit for people and give them in context, because we were all of a certain age when this movie came out. I think we have all good memories of it. Like, we have memories of it. This movie is a clear remake of An Affair to Remember from 1957.
Yes.
This is directed by Indra Kumar, stars Aamir Khan, Manisha Koirala, has a special appearance from Rani Mukherjee and Anil Kapoor.
And Sharmila Tagore.
Yes, indeed. I didn't mention that because she doesn't get did you watch the end credit where it says, "Thank you for our special friend Anil Kapoor and thank you Rani Mukherjee." Like, she's not even a friend.
Because she's Dadi, na. Dadi thodi na friend hoti hai.
Exactly. So watching this movie, I was thinking, man, they were so sure that this movie was such hot shit. Like, they were like, this is going to be a massive hit.
It was, though.
It was, though? No, it wasn't.
No,
Yes,
it wasn't.
it was. Man was a hit.
Like box office wise, it covered its money. I
Okay,
don't
it's
think
average. I just asked Google,
it
is Mann
really,
hit or flop?
like-
It was average. Okay, maybe in my mind it was a hit.
Yeah, only in your mind. This movie basically broke Aamir. This broke Indra Kumar. It kind of broke Manisha Koirala, and it might break this podcast. So this is like an intro to Mann. So, Pitu, why did you pick Mann?
So this movie has one of my favorite songs since my childhood. If you want to know why I'm such a demented person, it is because my cousin and I used to watch Kali Nagin Ki Jaisi on loop, and we knew the entire choreography which we used to perform in our living room. And in fact, when I was watching Mann, I watched the song twice, and I did all the choreography with Rani and Aamir while sitting up in my bed while watching it on my iPad. That song is so good. It's like Lord of the Rings के जो hobbits थे, उसमें आप Frodo और Sam Gamgee से dance करवाओ. That is basically it, because you have Rani Mukherjee, who is like 4 feet tall. You have Aamir Khan, who is like 5 feet tall, and they're both wearing these tiny outfits, which they are so small that those outfits have to be hiked up. So Aamir is wearing a silver suit where the belt touches his rib cage, basically. And Rani Mukherjee is like, you can't even see her. And Aamir is making all these lechy expressions at her that I thought were very hot when I was a teenager, but clearly I was like wrong. But yes, that song is it.
Like nobody would feel that, Amrita's presence is, like talking about Aamir's pant is straight in there, so uski kami महसूस नहीं होती होगी, the kind of thing. Like,
Do you know why Mamu, Aamir and Rani get along?
Why?
Because they can see eye to eye.
Yes, so true. Yes, that's why they're going to Khandaan all the time.
Indra Kumar and Aamir had come off like of some major hits. They made Dil together, they made Ishq together. Both were, hot shit. Even Rani's cameo is building off of Ghulam that came out the year before. Like, that's why the cameo is there, right? Because they had, Aati Ki Khandala, which was a huge hit. But this is like
Aamir and Manisha had done Akele Hum Akele Tum before this, and that was hot shit as well.
And Manisha, at that time, I don't think people remember, but she was the contender for the number 1 heroine spot.
Yeah.
And this movie ended that run for her. Like, if you go at her film,
and for good reason.
Yeah. So it's pretty crazy, like a lot of things that this movie did and how badly it was received. Like, at the time, people thought this was a Titanic ka remake. This is what they thought.
Yeah. I think that was the publicity wheel. I don't know what happened or how that rumor got spread, but it just happened. Building ke aas pados mein kisi ne bola, and everybody started talking about, this is going to be the Bollywood Titanic for some reason, just because there's a ship in the movie.
And this is the funniest thing, because I went back and listened to a few interviews and stuff like that, and they're like denying right and left that this is a remake of Titanic. But the funniest part is that the ship that they shot this movie on sank 3 months later, which I thought was the funniest
But it's
thing.
also a great tactic, right? To put that idea into your head. Don't think about elephants. It's kind of like that. Then the only thing you think about is elephants after that.
What do you mean, like elephants? The ship or the Titanic?
No, like that's a technique that was. I think that's a line from Inception, right? Don't think about elephant, and the only thing you can think about is elephants.
Yeah. So this movie is, like this basically is Aamir is playing like an international chichora in this movie. Right?
He's playing Devanand in this movie.
Yes. Oh God.
Yeah. So I wanted to go over a few of the things that this international chichora is doing, because Sujoy, you're not married yet, right? So,
but Sujoy is a playboy, so he does understand.
Exactly. So I think this is a higher level. So I think this maybe will give you some inspiration and some tips, right? Like what an international chichora does. So first of all, whenever he's kissing a woman, he pulls at the neck really hard, like really snaps the neck back in front of her. And I think 80% of this movie's budget was a chiropractor ka bill, basically.
Right.
Like, he's just snapping necks left and right.
And looking at Aamir's filmography during this period, he was into that entirely violent romance zone. Like a year later, he did Mela, in which he was pretty much the same. And Mann was this before this. Ghulam, he was pretty much violent, and definitely Ishq and Raja Hindustani before it.
Yeah. Things were going on, basically, right? And, it's like he has like a very rapey seduction.
He does. He has the most lechy
God.
eyes. It's so gross.
Yeah.
Especially in that hobbit body.
And everybody else is horny in this movie as well.
Who's horny?
Everybody else, like except for Manisha. Everybody else is horny.
Manisha is
It's
just
a
turned
very-
off by him.
Yeah.
But when she gets turned on, oh my God, she cries.
And then what also international chichoras do is drum solos. He's really into drum solos in this movie. And then also shairi.
Yes.
But the way shairi is done is like he's pelting stones at people. You know, like-
Pelting stones.
yeah.
And women are so impressed by that Shari. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
They like those terrible SMS forwards. I love the fact that Manisha Koirala's character in this movie, by the way, is a dancer, and she's won some sort of dance competition due to which she has won this ticket to this cruise ship. I love the fact that a woman who literally is like, she's like the Nana Patekar version of, you know, dancing. Like, that's how bad Manisha Koirala is, and they cast her as a dancer. I'm like, really? Who will believe this? Uske dances dekho tum.
So, because at the moment you're the only woman on this show,
Yes.
I wanted to ask you a very woman-centric
Okay.
question.
I will give you my womanly wisdom.
Yeah. And you speak for all women
I
at
do.
this moment, right? Yeah. So, at what age? And this is for Sujoy. Honestly, I'm asking for Sujoy. You know, at what age does Shairi start working on women, and when does it stop working on women? Because I feel it's like an age range. You have to capture them at the right time with Shairi.
Pitu has left the chat.
I want to know, this is my question, like, because when they're young it doesn't work,
Right.
and when they're old it works again. Like, what is the age range where like people appreciate shairi?
Never? It never works. It's so
It
bad.
never works?
It never works. So when I was a preteen, no, not when I was a preteen. I was like, I think 14 or 15. I got this anonymous card from some boy, and all the boys in my school were so ugly and horrible. But there was an anonymous card that was left on my desk, and I opened it, and this person had written in Romanized Hindi because I guess they just couldn't write in Hindi. And I struggled to even read it, but it said, and I still remember because it was so bad, it said, झुकी आंखें, no what? खुली आंखें कहती है जाओ हमें तुमसे मोहब्बत नहीं, लेकिन झुकी आंखें कहती हैं हाँ मोहब्बत है. And I was like, bro, have you seen me? I have never done jhuki aankhein in my life. I don't know what that shit is. So it was, I just tore it up and I thought it was the most ridiculous. And then I spent the rest of my school day wondering which useless preteen boy had, left that on my desk. So I just glared at everyone all day long. So it didn't work.
Do you know that saying that, you know, women are scared of men because they will kill them, and men are scared of women because they will embarrass them? Basically, you've done that
Yes.
on a global podcast. This boy wrote something, 30 years ago, and you're still making fun of him about it. Like, boy is cringing.
Okay,
The
I'm
boy is
still
hiccuping
cringing.
right
What about
now.
that?
I actually don't think that was a bad
Okay, that
line.
was
It's
so
all in the
bad.
delivery. I would have pulled that one
Okay,
off.
but
I have
also
to
know
say.
your audience. Anybody who knows me knows that I don't do no jhuki palke shit.
Yeah, you only do neck snapping.
Yeah,
That's what
exactly.
you do. Neck snapping.
I just not laughed at this.
Like, I'm not Manisha, I am Aamir Khan here.
Sujoy, man, which speed did you watch Mann, and what did you think about it?
Oh my God, I have so many thoughts. I don't know where to begin. I had to watch it over 3 nights because it was a bit too much for me, and I watched it at the regular pace because there's a lot to go through, and
Yeah.
Indra Kumar packs so much in. The first 25 minutes, it's just Manisha Koirala won a prize at a cultural fest in Singapore, and she wins the prize. And the prize is to get assaulted left, right, and center by everybody on the ship cruise, and nobody gives a shit. And she's like, this is my reality now.
This is me as an
And
Indra
that-
Kumar heroine.
This is just the first 25 minutes of the movie. And I was like, oh God, I need to take a break. And then it just progressively gets worse from there. I thought the songs of this movie were good, and then I realized not only is this movie a copy or, well, it is inspired or whatever, a remake. It definitely not an official remake of An Affair to Remember, but it's a copy. And then the songs by Sanjeev Darshan, 6 out of the 8 songs of this movie are all straight up lifts from different sources.
Really?
And
Oh, I didn't
I've
know
yeah,
that.
literally never seen a more ripped off album as Din. The only original song is the title track, and which is, I would say, one of the best songs out of the whole album. Is actually the title track, the one that they composed themselves, I think. But all the rest, like Kali Aankhein and all that, it's all
But
ripped off.
Tinak Tinak Tana is ripped off or what?
yeah, that too.
Okay, I like that one.
And like Sanjeev Darshan, I had to Google where they are, what's their filmography. They've been doing some consistently bad work,
Bad work.
and sad to say, they are the son of Shravan Rathod from Nadim Shravan.
Ah, I did not know this.
And actually, the plagiarism is so bad that even the background score is ripped off.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
they're having like dinner sequence together, and the Godfather theme playing in the background. Like the band is like, "Da, da, 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 da." Like what the hell, man? Like he's gonna get murdered here.
Okay,
And-
y'all
and
are
like-
calling it plagiarism, but have you thought about like it's very efficient because they're saving time and so then they can focus more on the character building? Y'all are so harsh.
But like, dude, this is their debutante soundtrack. Like, this is their first shot at fame. They are putting all, like, when somebody gets their first break, they put their everything into it, and they put their CD library into it.
Yeah, so
This
that's
is what
they
nepotism
did,
gets
huh?
you, man. This is what nepotism gets you.
Yeah,
Like
nobody's
Shravan
talking
ke
about-
bete, this is
But like Indra Kumar, for all the praise that he got in the 90s for making Dil, Beta, and Raja, and then Ishq, I think this was like him showing his age in filmmaking. Like all his like scenes and all the drama that he's trying to tell in this story are just like basic TV skits. Like, this is the comedy bit, this scene will happen in the lift, then this
Yeah.
scene will happen in the dining room, this scene will happen in the deck of the ship, and then they will go out and dance near the temples, and obviously the tree comes back in Tinak Tanai as well. Yeah.
It's funny because like a lot of times when we're watching, thinking of Indra Kumar, we think he's the director of Beta and Dil, but
Yeah.
he always was the director of Masti and Total Dhamal. like clearly that's what he wanted, and that's like the earlier movies were just flukes. But the other thing I also noticed, and I think we discussed this when we were watching Dil, that he has a really misogynistic
Oh,
streak
yeah,
in
for
him,
sure.
right?
Oh,
And
for sure.
watching one, I was like, wow, this is like really, really bad. It's nothing overt. And you kind of say like, it was that time, it was that era, but everybody is horrible
Yeah.
towards women. And this like generally, right? Like there's a very general anti-woman feel to this entire movie, which again, I think is kind of an Indra Kumar hallmark.
Yeah.
Like at a particular point, like one of the random ass supporting background actors calls Manisha Janam Jali.
Really?
Is that Popat Lal?
Yeah, or was it Popat Kima? I can't remember.
So the comic relief people in this movie was so bad and so irritating, especially that guy that laughed a lot, like I wanted to smack him.
Yeah.
So I actually went into Google and tried to like find out who these people were. And I was amazed to discover that one of those people, their name is Pappu Polyester. I mean, if that's not a great name, I don't know what is. Like, if you have a stage name, Pappu Polyester should be your stage name, So then I immediately made a mental note. If I ever get like an acting gig or if I become like a rock star or something like that, I will come up with some variation of that. Like, it'll be like Pitu Polyurethane or something like that.
Lisa Lycra.
Same. वही तो fabric का नाम जोड़ने का. Sujoy can be like Silk Sujoy, like Silk Smitha, because he's also very seductive and all, no?
No, he will be after he takes tips from international Chichora Aamir Khan. Then there's no stopping him.
Sujoy, you have to say काटेगी क्या?
Not now. At the end.
At the right time.
When you least expect it.
I also felt like a lot of the side characters were probably like just like people that put money into this movie. Like,
Yeah. Or just members of the producer guild or something like that.
Yeah. So, Sujoy, is Manisha Koirala really bad at comedy? I never really thought of it in that way. But watching this, I was like, is she really bad at comedy?
She is bad at everything. Like the entire gamut. Like her showing emotions is just straight from 0 to 11 in a span of 2 milliseconds. Like her showing, especially when she first realizes that she's feeling something for this Chichora, and that's before the title song Mera Man, right?
It's during, right? It's during. She's crying, and Aamir is booty shaking in Buddhist temples.
And
I was like, this
Aamir is neck snapping, and she is like the air guitar version of neck snapping.
Yeah.
And
But I would also cry if I fell in love with a man like that. Like, I would cry.
ये मेरे से क्या हो गया बाबूजी ये तो थक गई.
So, Pitu, I wanted to ask you, like, when I was saying that Manisha Koirala was a contender, I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, were we like in a collective hypnosis? Like, rewatching a few of her movies, we've not covered her too much.
Yeah.
Like,
But also, like, this was the bad phase of Manisha. If I look at her filmography, like, the last big movie that she had done was probably Dil Se, and before that was Gupt. But in between, she was doing bad ones, like Salakhe, Achanak, Maharaja.
Jani Dushman. She was in Jani Dushman.
Oh my
Remember,
God.
she was the Apsara who did the Bharatnatyam with her thunder thighs, and it caused an avalanche. I mean, she really was the reason for Jani Dushman picture to happen.
Yeah.
She's done some really good movies. So I really liked her in 1942, A Love Story. I liked her in Lajja. I think when she brings it, she really brings it. I mean, 1942, A Love Story, if you look at her in that movie, she's like so gorgeous. Like, she completely takes your breath away in that. What is that Rain Wala song? Rim Jim, and then that Pyar Hua Chupke Se. I mean, she's a vision in that movie. I can totally see why she was great, and then she was really good in Lajja as well. So I think Manisha is just one of those people. When she's great, she's amazing. But if you give her like this terrible movie to do, and the direction is also bad, then she just basically flounders. She can't really rise above the material.
Yeah, and I think she seems to fit in like very well lit, very like sensitive kind of roles, right? You know, like 1942, Khamoshi, Dil Se. She's shot in a certain way, almost make her feel like a classic,
like ethereal almost,
thing, right? Yes, and they use the same lighting here, because they even rip off the lighting the way they try to shoot her. But the way she's handling these sequences, the way she's dressed is, I mean, I'm not fashion expert, but like even in Mann, like that title track, right? Like, it's kind of that, again, we're referencing the same song, but Ishq Hai Suhana, like that kind of thing, like where there's one woman dressed in a certain way, and then like it imagines Manisha in those same clothes. And those clothes are super unflattering on her. It does not look good. It looked great on the, the model actress that they have at the start, but it does not look good on her. Where, with Charisma is the opposite, she looks great in it and the other woman doesn't look great in it. So it was just like these ideas that were just wrong in this movie, and I don't know like why they probably cast her for the second half of the movie more than the first half of the movie, but even that doesn't work for me.
I've always thought of Manisha like among the 90s heroines. I thought she was the one who really didn't luck out. I mean, in the sense that she was sort of in the film industry at the wrong time, because she came into the film industry at a time when everything was over the top. Women did not have author back roles at all. Not that they have very author back roles now. And she just came during an era where you needed to be as melodramatic as you could be. She also couldn't dance, which was a huge drawback for her. And I think at that time, instead of doing all these masala movies that she's really not made for, if she had really focused on, say, working more with Mani Ratnam or working more with Vidhu Vinod Chopra, or people who have the same sort of sensibility as she does, I think she would have done so much better, because she's just miscast in these roles. I mean, I feel like in this movie, I mean, as terrible as Mann is, I feel like Karishma probably could have pulled it off, or maybe Raveena could have pulled it off, because I think they could sort of take it in their stride, whereas with Manisha, she just looked completely out of place. But I mean, she's great. If you watch her in Akele Hum Akele Tum, she really brings it. I can't imagine Karishma in that role.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it doesn't work for
Yeah.
these kind of like over the top kind of like movies. But also, this movie itself just feels like of another
Yeah,
era.
very
It's really,
dated.
it's really one of those movies like, and this came out like Kuch Kuch Hota had already come out because clearly they lift like entire sequences from that movie. So already there was a moment where cinema, Indian cinema was pushing for something more, and this feels almost like an 80s
Yeah.
movie. Like this whole movie, everything can be solved with one conversation.
Right.
There's nothing more needed. And then still this movie is 3 hours long. But yeah, what did you guys think of Sharmila Tagore's cameo in this? Because I think this movie was shot approximately 20 years ago, and Sharmila Tagore is playing such an old woman that she still doesn't look as bad as she does in this movie. Like 20
They did
years
her
later
dirty,
on.
man. They really did her dirty with that really cheap ass wig and the eye makeup. Oh my god.
Why couldn't she just play his mom? Like, why Dadi?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like there was no reason for that, right? And
She got to die. That's why.
also, like, where is she living? Like,
No,
she's on an island that where only one boat can come. Is she Moana? Like, what's going on?
She's
Like,
Moana Dadi.
and I love it because she's like, just walking around with a bottle of tail, like koi to laga de. Like Manisha was in such an uncomfortable position, like, yeah, like Dadi main hi laga deti hu. Like, obviously, like Dadi is giving hints, like I just met you, massage my feet. If this is not like the typical Desi Dadi mentality, I don't know what else is.
And the only house help that she gets is from a guy called Ajinomoto.
Ajinomoto, man. Ajinomoto. Like, I cringed like at that sequence. But and also it gets really awkward because they have like that's the sequence where they both realize that they want to bone each other. Aamir and Manish are not Dadi's not involved, but Dadi is involved because Dadi's playing the piano और Dadi को सब समझ में आ गया. And even Dadi is at that moment like, बेटा तुम्हारा जाने का वक्त आ गया है. She's like, please go. This is getting uncomfortable.
My island is not big enough for y'all.
Yeah.
Also, like, Dadi's getting all emotional with the painting that he gave, right, of Dadaji, and that Dadaji's painting is of a white man.
We have to talk about Aamir's paintings, those Jazer, because basically he's like an international chichora, right? We haven't even told the story
There
of
needs to
this
be a
movie,
movie
right?
called International Chichora starring Varun Dhawan. Make it happen. You guys, let's manifest this
Oh my
shit.
god, this is like the best
Yes.
pitch ever. Pitu, I would be watching that
चल
movie
तू और मैं
100
इसका
times.
स्क्रिप्ट
Like,
लिखेंगे.
let's do it. New
Yes.
podcast. Patreon only. Me and Pitu write a movie for Varun Dhawan. He will never listen to and never start.
We'll cast Sujay in it.
Fuck my life.
Sujay, like, I love it because they sometimes on YouTube you have those Nepali movies,
Yes.
that kind of thing. We could do that with you. You just let like your mullet grow, and I'll get you some really old sunglasses to wear and like a plastic jacket that looks.
We'll
like
give him a
leather jacket.
BD also.
Yeah.
We'll do an item song with BD Jalaile. We'll just lift BD Jalaile.
How are you on board, Sujay?
If you pay me enough.
We're not paying you shit.
It's for the art, okay? It's for art, Sujay. Such a capitalist.
You do it for free or you don't do it, Sujay.
Wow, kya negotiation?
This is the Danny Denzongpa style of negotiation I'm bringing here.
It's like you will accept my offer or else we will like whack you.
Or else I'll bring the horse into your house, Sujay. That's what I'm gonna
तुम
do.
मेरे फिल्म करता हुआ नहीं.
Exactly. Danny Denzongpa.
Sujay will be like,
So, yeah.
"Oye, babuji, मैं तो थक गया."
So we have to go back to Aamir's painting. Like, why are we talking about Aamir's painting? Because Aamir is like an international chichora. He's like a rich guy who used to be a rich guy, but now he's in debt.
He's bad with money. He's really bad
and
with
then because of that, he's gonna marry some rich woman.
Singhania.
Yeah, Singhania. So we know what that means. Played by Dipti Bhatnagar, a name that nobody would remember if you weren't around in the 90s, right? Like,
Yeah.
she's completely disappeared, right? And Manisha Koirala at the same time what is going to marry Anil Kapoor because he is the only one that goes to orphanages to marry women. I don't understand this whole setup that Anil Kapoor has.
I have theories, guys.
Tell me the theory.
So this whole thing, Farhan Akhtar saw this movie and was like, this can be done so much better, and he did it in Dil Chahta Hai. So Ayub Khan plays the same Anil Kapoor character, right? And Aamir character in the first half is again same. The Dev character, he's Chichora and he's not good with women and all of that, and he's got he has a change of heart. And then the whole Chaha Hai Tumko sequence where Aamir is getting all emotional over a stage play is the same opera sequence in Dil Chahta
Oh my
Hai.
God, you're so right. This is Dil Chahta Hai.
And then I have a second theory, which is also related to Excel, and that is Zoya Akhtar saw this movie, and she thought Aamir is so bad, and he's so bad in a ship cruise. He's behaving like a dog. So the next time we will make Aamir appear on a ship cruise, he will actually be a dog, and he was the voice of the dog in Dil Dhadakne Do.
That is amazing, dude. That is like amazing. Like, there's not a lot of cruise movies in India, right? There's only like
Oh,
basically
Dil Dhadakne Do.
if I'm not. Yeah, that's the one that's. Pitu went out to get some more tea,
Yes.
right? That's what happened.
From her microwave.
And then there's You, Me or Hum with by Ajay Devgan, right? I think those are the only three, and Mann, right? The three cruise ship movies that I can.
Has anyone seen?
Could be a good
India?
subgenre. It's good. It's really good. I
Really?
like it. Good songs, shot really well. Yeah, people underrated. You,
I
Me
don't
or
know if
Hum
I
is
trust
underrated.
y'all.
No, it's not for you, but I really liked it. It's very emo.
Oh God,
very
no
Bollywood,
thanks.
like not for
Oh,
very
God.
weepy. I like it. Yeah. So they are kind of they are supposed to marry somebody else. They meet on this ship and then they kind of fall in love. Then because he breaks off his engagement with the rich Sanghania girl, he starts taking up painting and he becomes like an international artist, making the most terrible paintings. Think of, Pam in The Office, when she's doing her artwork, that kind of level of paint. No, even that was good. Like, this is just like the worst paint. Like, why couldn't they even like act like, why couldn't they get the guy from Tare Zameen Pe that did actual? Maybe that's something that he also got, like Aamir. Like, I'm never going to be a painter that has bat paintings in cinema, so I'm gonna get like a decent artist to do it, because these are like the worst paintings I've ever seen in my life. And he's like becomes super rich with it, right? I love, and he's such a bad painter because his first job is like painting
Yes.
street signs, right?
Speed breaker.
And he has to paint and he's painting like a zebra path or a speed breaker, and he's just like covered with paint, like paint on his forehead, paint on his eyes. Like, dude, you're just making lines, man. It's not that hard. But then he becomes like an international renowned success because his dadi says that.
But remember, he gets 300 rupees ki kamai for his speed breaker, and then he like all tears up and everything because he's like, "Meri pehli kamai." I was like, dude, how old are you?
Yeah. Plus, also like with that pehli kamai, he gets like a chopar patti, he gets canvas paint, like do khatiya, a kitchen, like all of that.
Condo
like,
that he moves into in Hiranandani complex, I was like, bro.
How much does painting pay in Mumbai, man? And what exactly is what's his name, Neeraj Vora, doing in this movie? Like, he is the most useless dose of all.
Kattu or Nattu or whatever his name was.
Like, his entire life is dependent on Aamir making a living.
Yeah.
I think it's just like, that's what Indra Kumar feels of the lower class, that's they're basically there because, trickle down economy, Also, that song Nasha Ye Pyar Ka Nasha Hai.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we want to get into the music a little bit. First of all, this song Nasha Ye Pyar Ka Nasha, that's basically Ruk Jao Jaane Jana, right? From DDLJ. It's the same setup,
Is
no?
it?
Yeah. But
it's exactly the same.
But with the addition of the entire ship crew like being hostile and violent against Manish. Like, they're actually pointing at her and dancing. And they, at the end of the song, they throw the dal chawal as Then Aamir says, who has dal chawal in a ship cruise?
But there's like 4 people that are really involved in this situation. Like there's 4 of them. But like when they're not involved, like all the rest will involve them. Like Manisha will be like, ladies and gentlemen, like this man is going to meet his daddy. Ha 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 ha. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did you guys think of the music of the song? Sujo, you had some thoughts about everything is ripped off, right?
Yeah, everything is ripped off. I liked Nasha. I really like Nasha Ye Pyar Ka Nasha Hai as a song. And then Tinak Tin Tana was a favorite when the trailers used to come out. But the premise of Tilak Tin Tana is really hilarious. That this was it after the song? Oh, I think not Tinak Tin Tana, but when they sing Hum Honge Kamyab, right?
Isn't that a nationalistic song or like a
It
patriotic
is.
song?
We
Alright.
shall overcome, basically. And then they sing it in the context of all these kids trying to, make their teacher sort of give her solace that she will get eventually married.
The worst
Oh,
kids
yes,
in the
those kids
world.
were the
Like
worst.
the worst kids. Yeah.
And I had completely forgotten about the song "Sau Baar Janam Le Tere Liye." The
Which one is that?
"Sau Baar Janam Le Tere Liye."
Oh, right. Also, that was ripped off from a South Indian movie, right?
Yeah, I think so. But I had completely forgotten about one of the singers of that era, Hema
Oh, yeah.
Sardesai, and
Right.
yeah,
She sang so many
she
songs in
is
Sapne,
one of the
no?
voices.
Like she sang Avara Bhavre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. What about you, Pitu? You love the music
I
of this,
only
right?
love Kali Nagin Ke Jaisi because it is the best song ever with the best choreography ever, and I will stand by my words. I remember this music being very popular when the movie came out, but like it really hasn't aged well, and I can't stand any of the other songs anymore. And the choreography is horrible in everything, and Aamir's lechi expressions just make it impossible to watch.
I think one of the problems is this is a very Ganesh
Yes.
Acharya choreography, right?
They even have an instrumental version where Ganesh Acharya appears on screen with his Mitra Mandali Dance Academy.
Yeah. And the thing is with Ganesh Acharya, like he's like a very overweight fellow, right? Just like a fact. Like I'm just
You shouldn't say overweight. In India, we say वो बड़ा healthy है. He's very healthy.
Haldi, right? So this is not to fat shame or anything, but the thing is the way his choreography works is कि एक body part हिलता है, like only one body part हिलेगा, but that works when you have Govinda, you have charisma, you have Salman, because you're putting emotion there in the dancing. Aamir cannot pull this off. And he doesn't even get a bowler hat to, work out the choreography here. It just, it's terrible. It's like the worst choreographer with Aamir. It just doesn't work at all. And we have to watch so much of it.
And on the other hand, the choreography that actually works is Anil Kapoor dancing to Sapne
Yes.
in SBA, this movie.
So good.
I have to talk about that. Why is that song in this movie?
Because it's a shadi. That was just the time. Satya was out. Everybody was dancing to this song in shadis. And we had to watch Anil Kapoor dance to it.
Yeah, but like Satya came out the year before. Like, how is that allowed to just put a song that's still probably really big into your movie? Like, that's okay? That's fine?
I guess it's the same record label.
Yeah. I thought it was so weird, but I want to see Anil Kapoor dance. And I did think, like, from a cinematic point of view, I thought it was interesting. And this is something nobody has thought about. It's definitely not Indra Kumar or the filmmakers. But it's an interesting juxtaposition to have Anil Kapoor, the ultimate filmy tapori, play on a song of the first time that Indian cinema was doing like a real life tapori gangsters, right? Like it's interesting to put those two things together, and Anil Kapoor just rocks it, man. It's like he owns the song.
Everything, though.
But
I mean, it's
yeah,
Anil Kapoor. He has
he's
more
so good,
charisma
yeah.
in
He's
his
so
little
good.
pinky than Aamir Khan does in his entire Hobbit body.
What I found the most hilarious part is that, like they're supposed to get married and he clearly wants to get married to Manisha Koirala, but the moment she's like, I love somebody else, he's like, totally comfortable in the friend zone. He's like, yeah, dost, best dost ever. Like, he's like, did he actually want to get married? He's like, I'm good here.
I don't think that London story was fictional. Well, he sort of pretends like when he went to London, he met someone.
He banged somebody?
Yeah.
No, he
met somebody and then, sort of plays the same story back to Manisha because he read
He's
the
like,
letter.
actually.
Yeah. I thought Mera Man was a banger. I like the drums in it. The drums
Which
solo.
drums are you talking about?
Oh no, be careful, Sujat's going to get mad.
No, I like Mera Man. That's the only track I really like. The rest is and what was it? There was another La 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 kind of just like I thought the song would start, but it's just La 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 La. It's like Gana kab shuru hoga? Oh, khatam ho gaya. Okay.
I think that's also a straight lift from some track
Probably,
somewhere.
yeah.
I don't trust.
Wow, I didn't know about
these
itna
people.
plagiarism hai is picture mein. No idea, yaar.
Bahut.
So naive I am.
Bhar bhar ke.
And also so much Udit Narayan. Like there's so much Udit Narayan in this soundtrack, right? Like pretty much like 90% of the songs are him. And I thought it was too much because the songs weren't that good.
But I really like Nasha Ye Pyar Ka Nasha Hai. That like Udit Narayan sings the shit out of this song, man.
Yeah.
Bahut badhiya.
Anything else? Anything else you want to talk about, Man? What have we not covered?
The
yes,
kids,
they were the
the
worst.
kids, the horrible kids. The Cinderella story that the kid reminds. आपके तो पैर ही नहीं है.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She I like that they're not. So Manisha Koirala gets into a car accident. I think it's off screen, so we don't know.
We
what
just
she
hear her
gets hit
scream.
with.
She goes,
And yeah, and they just
Yeah.
cut off her legs. Like it's like they no legs at all. And then the kids make fun of it. Tere to pair hi nahi hai, no,
as
that
one
kind of thing.
does.
And yeah, and then also Aamir to add salt to the wounds, bring her like a payal, ye dadi ki payal hai and all that, and she has no feet. Like it was quite terrible, that whole thing.
But also like the climax sequence when Aamir realizes and he sort of does that whole monologue and he's trying to search for that painting
Yeah.
in the house. He got me
Painting
there,
of
man.
painting.
He got me there. He sold the shit
got
out
you?
of that scene.
Wow, like the movie had lost me at that point. But I don't think.
Asim had given up at that point. He was questioning his friendship with me.
But I'm Aamir's biggest fan on this podcast. Like this is known. Like, but I do understand that it could get you if the movie hadn't lost me then. But I actually think for performance-wise, I think both Manisha Koirala and Aamir are probably the best in the second half. The first half doesn't work for anybody. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't work for Aamir because I do not enjoy his international chichora style, and Manisha is not good at comedy, and she's also not good at this kind of like, because either she's doing like comedy or she's doing like she's just being angry and screaming at Aamir, and both of those things don't really work. And then she falls in love, which is also painful to watch for everybody involved. But then the drama afterwards, and she's mostly with Anil Kapoor, that kind of works for me. But like this is 3 hours long, man. It just took all out of me. Like, I was telling you guys, like like whenever we watch like an older movie, we have to search for it. We have to go to Shemaru and Goldmine movies and all that kind of thing. But this one was on Netflix, and I was like, oh great, it's on Netflix. And then I was like, shit, it's on Netflix.
Oh,
I
I
have to watch
watched it on
this.
YouTube. I didn't know it was on Netflix. I have Netflix. I had to suffer through all these YouTube ads. And I was like congratulating myself for being
we
a
should
true
have told you.
friend and sitting through the YouTube ads for you guys and all.
Yeah,
You
did end up-
chose this, Pitu.
Yeah,
Don't blame
you
it on us.
I love how she twists it around like तुमने मुझे तुम मेरे हो दिखाई थी. I was like, wait a minute, this is not true. You watched it. You made us watch it. Like, what kind of gaslighting is going on this podcast? Pitu the gaslighter.
Oh yeah, that could be my name, like Pappu Polyester, Pitu Gaslighter.
That actually works. Yeah.
Pitu Petrol.
It's so brazen though. It's so brazen that like they just rip off the Kuch Kuch Hota Hai location. Like it's like we'll just get the same place, we'll get Gande Gande Bacche, and they're gonna be terrible. we're gonna get like a kid that looks like the Tariq Intawa, but he'll make him say awkward and inappropriate things.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
so
teacher ne I love you bola.
Oh,
I remember that line so many, like it all came back in a flash to me yesterday when I saw that scene, because that used to be the line. That particular scene, teacher ne I love you bola, and the towel scene from the first half, those two were cut into the trailer, and that used to play constantly on Z Music back then.
So I actually never spent any time with children, thank God. But I have a question. Do our kids of this age actually like this? Yeah.
what, the movie? Why would you want to make Pitu? Why would you like? हमने तो देख ली. Why do you want the next generation to suffer too? Why do you want kids to watch this movie?
Like an anthropological question I'm asking. Like kids of that age, are they actually like that? Because मैं तो kids देख के भाग जाती हूँ.
No.
No, they're not.
No. No, I mean, like, my daughter is an angel. Like,
मतलब वो वहाँ पे गई है. Okay, continue.
Yeah, exactly. मेरा कोई link नहीं है. Like, people still ask me, ये तेरी बेटी है. Yeah, तेरी भी बेटी है. But no, kids are not terrible. They're not like horrible human demons, Yeah. The kid, like, it feels like a movie that somebody is made who has never seen kids or has horrible kids. It might be one or the other. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or dadis for that matter.
But then Indra Kumar had like all the array of characters in this movie, the Gujaratis, the Popots, the guy who laughs, the photographer, everybody is horrible in this movie. Like Indra Kumar has horrible experiences with everyone.
We can extrapolate that
Maybe he's
a
the problem
person based on this. He's
maybe he's the problem here. Yeah. I think that's it. Unless you guys have anything else to want. Like I did one thing. I really laughed when like Aamir is really crying at that cheap ass play that they're watching. And he's just like crying buckets because it's so on the play is the most on the nose thing ever. Like it's basically their autobiography on screen, but it's like one of those like back in Silsila, there was also like in that movie, like a lot of like theater plays. People go to watch theater plays in what was that Rishi Kapoor one with Divya Bharti, where it's also like a stage play kind of thing.
Divana.
Yeah, Divana. Like it used to be like a trope up until the 90s when theater was big. And now there's like, theater is more like in what's that Sonam Kapoor movie with Ajay Devgn and now I'm blank. Ranjana, like street theater where, like it's like the evolution of theater in cinema is kind of interesting to see. You guys were there, right? Did you ever go to these kind of theater plays in India back in the day?
I saw a lot of plays, but not Hindi. I saw them all in Marathi, and Marathi theaters plays are like amazing. They're actually really good. I've never seen a Hindi play in my life.
I used to go in Delhi, like mostly like street plays.
Like the Sonam Kapoor ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
In Delhi University, yeah.
Yeah, I just like, I get like anxious because I feel suddenly Meenakshi Shishadri will show up and I'll just get like a hives attack or something seeing her on screen.
You don't like Meenakshi Shishadri?
Hell no. Meenakshi Shishadri, I don't
no,
like.
then we should watch one of her movies for my next guest appearance.
Yeah, see, this is where I'm so smart. There is no Khan movie with Manisha, Meenakshi. I'm.
नहीं don't लेंगे.
नहीं मैं आगे की सोच के podcast pitch
Aamir Khan has that cameo in Davani, right? In that song where Manisha is dancing on stage.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, although that's the only Meenakshi movie I like, and Meri Jung. Those are the two ones that I can kind of like handle.
Meri Jung, like there are other reasons why I love that movie.
Meri Jung is so good, yeah.
So good. I need to rewatch it. I would like having goosebumps talking about it.
Yeah.
So Meri Jung doesn't have any Khans in it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We'll break the format for Anil Kapoor.
Watch, but Meenakshi Shishadri movie.
No, we are not talking about Meri Jung on the podcast now.
maybe we should do a Patreon special, like an Anil Kapoor retrospective. We just do Anil Kapoor movies, have Pitu on, and then we can talk about Meri Jung, and then Amrish Puri in a bar, in a club, which I always like, that kind of thing. Love it. I think this is the end for Mann. I think we're done here.
This is is the end of my man.
Our mans are fried at this point.
Exactly. Pitu, thank you for joining us and stepping in for Amrita's shoes. Tiny shoes, we have to say, right? Women don't.
Such large shoes.
No,
to
you
fill.
can't. That's offensive. We have to say tiny shoes.
Such tacky shoes to fill.
So, Pitu, where.
अभी वो नहीं है तो मैं कुछ भी बोल
Yeah,
सकती
you
हूँ,
take the risk. हम तो अच्छा बोलेंगे. You know? हमें बाद में भी podcast करना है उसके साथ. You know? We're very careful. No, we respect her. हमारी देवी है. Pitu, where can people find you online?
People can find me on my Instagram, which is Pitu Sultan. But I will probably reject their follow request because I'm a mean person. But they can find me there, and then
What happened to Kapoor with Pitu?
I got very bored. I stopped doing it. I just gave the world a little taste of my jalwa, and then I backed off and left them salivating for more.
I love it because you go to the channel and it's just screenshots of all of Pitu's expressions, and I just love just the front page of Kapoor with Pitu on YouTube already.
Okay, the content is also very epic, okay? But I'm actually thinking of starting my
Whenever
own
it
podcast.
happens, when she Pitu, you launch it, you have to come back on Khandaan so we could do a proper plug.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. I think this could be good timing for that.
And then y'all can be my guests. And then I'll be nice to you, like how you're nice to me.
Unless it's a Meenakshi movie, then it's not, or a Hema Malini movie.
Ooh, that's a good
Both of
idea.
those are
We'll
things
review
that
a
matter.
Meenakshi movie and Asim will be the
Hema
guest.
Malini and Meenakshi are out. Those two I cannot stand.
So my homework for the day is to find a movie that stars both of them.
Or we write one, we write like we wrote International Chichore. That's definitely something.
Yeah.
Sujoy, man, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at 93K, and I'm struggling to put and make some content for my Instagram at 93K as well. And you can also follow our Khandaan podcast Instagram and TikTok at Khandaan Podcast.
Yeah, and I'm at Asim Bernie. You can follow Amrita on Amrita IQ, by the way, on Twitter too. And thank you for listening. Drop us an email at youpodcasting@gmail.com. Go to Patreon if you want to hear us talk about Can and Karan Johar's 50-year-old birthday bash. And we'll be back with another episode next week. Thank you for listening, guys.
Khandaan Podcast और एक्टिंग